संस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
भारतीय संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा, ज्ञान और विज्ञान यहीं से सबने पाया सारा, सबने पाया सारा। कुछ भूलों से हारा फिर से जीते देश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी, वैज्ञानिकता विनय सभ्यता स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी, स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी। देशभक्ति में तेजस्वी हो फिर समाज यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
महावीर गोविंद शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे, परंपरा की पुण्य चेतना पुर में हम सब धारे, में हम सब धारे। बाल हृदय में उसे जगाकर जगे देश यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय
धरणिमागता रसातलमपि त्वरितमुपेता मुक्तिदेवता त्रिपथगामिनी गंगा मनोहारिणी विजयते गंगा मनोहारिणी। स्फटिकनिर्मलं तुहिन शीतलं तरङ्गतरलं परममङ्गलं दिव्यं सलिलं वहति सलीलं मर्त्यलोके अमृतवाहिनी गंगा मनोहारिणी विजयते गंगा मनोहारिणी। शत शत संगम तीर्थ पावनी अगणित मंदिर शिखर शालिनी स्तोत्र मंत्र संगीत गायनी ऋषि मुनि सुरगण मोददायिनी गंगा मनोहारिणी विजयते गंगा मनोहारिणी। भवतु निवासो गंगानीरे शुचि गंभीरे क्वापि मंदिरे यातु शरीरं गंगानीरे गंगा माता मोक्षदायिनी गंगा मनोहारिणी विजयते गंगा मनोहारिणी। राम राम जय राजा राम 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 जय राजा राम पावन भिक्षा दे दो कोमलवाणी दे दो राम निर्मल करणी दे दो राम कोमलवाणी दे दो राम निर्मल करणी दे दो राम प्रासंगिकमति दे दो राम चतुराई भी दे दो राम 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 जय राजा राम पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम 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 जय राजा राम पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम हितकारक जो दे दो राम जन सुख कारक दे दो राम इंगितज्ञता दे दो राम बहुजन मैत्री दे दो राम 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 जय राजा राम पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम विद्या वैभव दे दो राम, उदासीनता दे दो राम, अयाचना व्रत दे दो राम, मैं न जानू वह दे दो राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम। प्यार तुम्हारा दे दो राम, दास कहे मोहे दो श्री राम। संगीत गायन दे दो राम, गान मधुरता दे दो राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम। सावधानता दे दो राम, ज्ञान कंठगत दे दो राम। दास कहे हे सद्गुण धाम, उत्तम गुण मोहे दे दो राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम। पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम, दीन दयालो दे दो राम। अभेद भक्ति दे दो राम, आत्मनिवेदन दे दो राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम। तन्मयता मोहे दे दो राम, अर्थारोहण दे दो राम। सज्जन संगति दे दो राम, अलिप्तता मोहे दे दो राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम। ब्रह्मानुभव दे दो राम, अनन्य सेवा दे दो राम। पूर्ण समर्पण दे दो राम, दास कहे मोहे दे दो राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम। पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम, पावन भिक्षा दे दो राम।
सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। जगद्गुरुम्। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता
संस्कृति का वैभव।
Jai Shri Krishna. Bowing down to all our gurus before the start of the program, Swami Vivekananda once said on Guru, I quote, "He alone teaches who has something to give. For teaching is not talking. Teaching is not imparting doctrines. It is communicating." A warm welcome to all the sadhakas who have joined us for interpretation session of Chapter 4, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, the yoga of knowledge in action. Bhagavan had revealed this knowledge to Sun God, which got lost with the passage of time and was again revealed to Arjuna in this chapter. We all are really blessed to be associated with Gita Parivar. Now it's time for prayer. Prayer is considered to be an integral part of our culture, and it helps us to develop a relationship with God. Just like your parents here on earth, your heavenly forefathers want to hear from you. When we pray to God, our prayers are answered in the form of thoughts, spiritual feelings, scripture, or even the actions of other people. Today, Arambha Pratana is by Pavani Ottukuchi from California. Didi is a software engineer, joined Gita Parivar in January 2023 and is an L1 sadhak. Didi, please.
Jai Shri Krishna, Didi.
Yes.
Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsa Chanuramartanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum.
Thank you, Didi, for that melodious prayer. Now it's time for Deepa Prajwalan. Shubham Karoti Kalyanam Arogyam Dhanasampada Shatru Buddhi Vinashaya Deepa Jyotir Namostuti. I fold my hands before the light that brings prosperity, auspiciousness, good health, abundance of wealth, and destruction of the enemy's intellect. May I request Deepak Nagliji from Worcester, USA, a student of Masters in Robotics who joined Gita Parivar in March 2021 and is a trainer in all levels. Deepak ji, please.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम्. शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्राम् शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृताम् कलहंसकृतावासाम् वरदां शारदां नुमः वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you. That was a beautiful and devotional Prajalan. There is an information for you all. A Geeta Sevi program has been arranged on 7th of May at 8:30 p.m. for you all, which would give you an idea as to what seva can be done by you. We request you all to attend the program without fail, and please do at least one seva for the Parivar, which would be a Yagya Dana for you. I would like to inform all the participants that you may ask questions once the session is over. Raise your hands only after the session is over, please. Now, it's time for the most anticipated part of this session. Our speaker for the day is Vikas Vaidya ji from Pune. Vikas ji is a mechanical engineer and has done PGDBM also. Bhaiya is a trainer for L1 to L4 and trainer's trainer for all levels. He is also involved in teaching and vivechan of Vishnu Sahasranam. Vikas ji also gives guidance to Geeta Vratis to prepare for Sringeri Peeth Geeta exam. Bhaiya himself has received first prize at the hands of Param Pujya Jagat Guru Shankaracharya. Over to you, Vikas ji.
Jai Shri Krishna. Vasudeva Sudan Devam Kausachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum. Param Pujya Swami Ji ke Charan Kamal mein koti koti naman. We are discussing Adhyaya 4, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Today we will try to conclude last session. Last time we have covered up to slok number 20. Tyaktva karma phala sangan nityatrupto nirashrayah karmanyabhya pravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti taha. Living, relinquishing, abandoning all attachment to the result of his activities, return the reward of his activities, that means karma phala, and one who is always satisfied and independent within himself. He does not perform any sakam karma, punitive action, although he is engaged in performing all sorts of actions. This is what we had discussed last time. We move further. Nirashirta chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha sharirang kevalang karma kurvanna apnoti kilbisham. Now here Paramatma says that one who is already controlled his body, one who is bereft, who is devoid of any desires and expectations, and his mind and body is fully under his control, and he is perfectly balanced, then he performs all necessary actions, having given up all possessions and concept of ownership, kartrutva abhiman, and no bhoktrutva. So such a person, he incurs no sin. So the most important thing in this shloka, Paramatma says, is take control of your body and mind. Now, it is easier to take control of your body than your mind, because mind is subtler than body. We have 5 senses of perception, 5 jnanendriyas, and the mind is regarded as the ruler of these senses. The mind in turn is governed by prana, pranavayu, prana, the vital life force that we have in us, without which our body is a dead body. So that vital life force, it governs the mind, and mind governs the senses. So if you want to rein in your senses, if you want to control your senses, then you need to bridle your mind first, fix your mind first, unwavering. And if you want to control your body, then you need to regulate your prana. The question is, how do you have any knowledge about the functioning of prana? How do you know what is prana and how does it function? So, for you to be able to control prana, you first need to understand its functioning. What is the functioning of prana? How does the prana function? How it works in the body. And in order to learn the know-how of controlling your prana, you first need to purify and balance your body. And this is through the practice of asanas. So asanas is the beginning of any spiritual journey. Asanas will lead you to purification of pranas. See, if this body is the most important tool for your spiritual evolution. If the body is sick, you can't have that. And if you have not controlled the body, and if you have not controlled and mastered the body, you will be unable to master, to bridle your mind. So to control the mind, you should first perfect your body. Perfecting the body is through asanas. And asanas are meant for balancing the body and balancing the body's energy. Now the one who is in control of body, this is what Lord says, one who is in control of his body, whereas our current situation is that the body controls us. It is just the opposite. We meet many people wherein they are sick when you meet them, but after a few months, when you meet them, they have started recovering. Maybe they go to some Patanjali yogas or they start doing some asanas, pranayamas and all that. So this is a perfect technique of repairing your body and consequently repairing your mind and then starting your spiritual journey. The one who has gained the mastery over his body and with his resolve either start or stop the functioning of body of any part. He can have that kind of mastery. Yogis, they can stop their breath for months. We should not try that, of course. But there are people who can control their body to any extent, which is unimaginable for us. So Paramatma says that those who have controlled their body, for them, this yoga can be started. First, controlling the body through asanas, then pranayama, and pranayama makes your mind brittle, and then you can try to control your senses. So this is the ladder through which we have to go. Now the second point mentioned by Lord in this shloka is about the relinquishing of your possessions. Possessions. Tyakta sarva parigraha. Now this does not mean that you ought to throw all that you have owned so far. That does not mean so. Give up your house, give up your money, give up your utensils, give up your furniture. No. That is not the meaning of it. Keeping as much as is needed for the sustenance and maintenance of your body is not a sin. So that you must retain. But people have a tendency of collecting things of material pleasure. If I have one house, 2, 3, 4, no limit to that. I have one car, 2, 3, 4, no limit to that. So this Paramatma is asking us to desist from this kind of tendency. So Shri Krishna keeps saying that again and again that don't run away from your responsibilities in the name of God. Keep doing your karma. Keep collecting money, nothing wrong in that. But what is for your sustenance? Don't be greedy about it. Rather, he says that transform your worldly duties from being tedious to being source of divine joy. So whatever activity you do, even for the materialistic world, do it with joy. This is what Paramatma says. Slok 22. Yadruchalava santushto dvandvatito vimatsaraha samasiddhava siddhaucho krutva pinanibadhyate. Content with whatever you have and whatever comes out of its own accord. Yadrucha, without wishing. Yadrucha, labha santushto, being satisfied with the gains which come on its own accord, with no special efforts for gain from your side. In Hindi, apne aap jo milta hai, yadrucha labha santushto. So this is one, and then dvandvatita, all dualities, free from all dualities, dvandvatita, and devoid of all malevolence, all matsar, and equipoised in success and failure. Yadruchala basantushto dvandvatito vimatsara Samasiddhava siddhocha. Siddhi or asiddhi, favorable or unfavorable, you remain equipoised. That is samasiddhava siddhocha. Such a person is not bound despite performing his actions. So this qualification, Yadruchala, Dvandvatita, Vimatsaraha, and Samasiddhava siddhocha. If we attain these qualities, then we don't get bound by our own karmas. He is satisfied with whatever comes to him effortlessly. He has no desire, no expectations, but actions keep happening through him. And he is not content with the consequences, irrespective of what they are. Neither despondent in defeat, nor very, very boastful in victory. Samasiddhava siddhocha. Now, let us check where we stand. The fact is that slightest achievement, it fills us with pride, and slightest failure fills up with despair. So this is not siddha or siddhocha samma. This is not that. Even a very, very trivial victory or success makes you want to shout aloud on the rooftop. You gloat, you boast, and some even get photos printed in the newspaper that he has achieved so much. And some sundry come to know about your achievement. So everybody comes to know your about achievement, whether it's connected to your note. What is the point is publishing in the paper? You tell your relatives, friends, that is enough, no? But publishing in the newspaper. On the other hand, even the most insignificant failure or defeat makes you totally despondent. You feel ashamed, and then you try to hide from people. So Paramatma doesn't support this kind of behavior. This is the art of living, wherein you do all appropriate, virtuous, righteous deeds, but with the non-doer attitude. No kartrutva abhiman. And when you are the non-doer, you are the non-bearer of consequences of your actions. You have not done it because you are non-doer. It happened through you. You are observing it only as a witness. You are not a doer. When you are a non-doer, then how can the consequences of your karma will bondage you? So, Parvati says, I am nothing and nothing belongs to me. This is what attitude we should have. And then who will be affected by that disparagement? What will be the significance of respect or disrespect then? He can treat everything as samasiddhava siddhocha. Once he has this attitude of non-doing anything by himself, when he has no kartrutva abhiman, when he knows that he is not a non-doer, he is a non-doer, then nothing binds him. So the self-realized man has no expectation from this world, and thus he lives in the present moment without labeling it as good or bad. Only the present moment exists for him. There is nothing before it, there is nothing after it. We either live in the past or we live in the future. We rarely live in the present. So the past has become nothing, and the future also has no existence in the present moment. We don't know what is the future holding now. So why to worry about it and spoil our present? All that is the present moment, and thus live in the present. Look 23. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavasthita chetasaha yajnaya charatah karma samagram praviliyate. Gata sangasya. The one who is unattached to the material world. Sangasya is attachment. Gata is gone. He has left all asaktis, all attachments. So the one who is unattached to the material world, who offers all actions as a yajna, as a sacrifice to the divine, and who is firmly established in the transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge, all actions of such a liberated being get dissolved. Tatasangasya muktasya jnanavasthita chetasa yajnaya charata karma samagram praviliyate. Praviliyate is dissolved, gone. So the Lord beautifully describes the attributes of self-realized man here. Devoid of worldly attachments, Tatasangasya, established in the knowledge and performing all actions as if he is performing a yajna. So whatever action we do, if we perform with this sentiment that we are performing a yajna, that is what the Lord is expecting in this shloka. Now let us understand that yajna does not mean the ritualistic oblation, havan that we do in the Agni, in the fire, that yajna is not referred here. The term yajna has been used as a metaphor wherein all actions are offered dedicated into divine, just as the offering. Whatever I am doing, Shri Krishnarpanamastu. That is the attitude we should have for all actions that we perform. And offerings are made in the external ritualistic yajna, not in that fire. Whatever I think, whatever I do is for the divine, by the divine, for the divine. So this is the attitude we should have. This is called yajna in Bhagavad Gita. Now yajna means virtuous actions, acts of merit, actions which are dedicated to the Lord. And let us remember that even a seemingly low act of sweeping the floor can become a yajna. Sweeping the floor can become a yajna if you perform it joyously and dedicating it to the divine. You clean the place in a temple and enjoy that once. Try it once. Likewise, when the activities like cooking, eating, walking, talking also can become a yajna, provided we do it joyously and offer it to the divine. See, the attitude changes when you do so-called worldly activities. And it is different when you perform any religious or ritual activities. Both have different. Now, whatever the task is, be it physical, emotional, mental, or intellectual activity, when you do it without attachment or having dedicated to the Lord, then every activity becomes a yajna. Generally, we see people don't enjoy their work. So the lady of the house cooks in irritation sometimes, and serves in anger. Something has happened, so she is angry. Okay. So she derives no joy whatsoever and regards cooking as an unwanted activity. Instead, the attitude of the cook, then be it a woman or a man, should be such that it is being cooked for the Lord, and while serving, don't see if the person is related to you or not. You like him or you dislike him. Rather, see the divine reflecting in every face and thus feeding the person lovingly. Then the cooking, the serving becomes a yajna. So this is the yajna according to Bhagavad Gita. And one who performs this yajna, he does not get bound by his karmas, by his activities. Slok 24. Brahmarpanam brahmahavir brahmagnau brahmana hutam brahmaiva tena gantavyam brahma karma samadhina. Now in next few slokas, Paramatma is going to explain us 12 types of yajnas. 12 types. Even if we follow one of them, we will be a changed person. Brahmarpanam brahmahavir brahmagnau brahmana hutam brahmaiva tena gantavyam brahma karma samadhina. Many people recite this sloka while taking food. The oblation is Brahma. Whatever offering you are making in the yajna is Brahma. The person making the oblation too is Brahman, is to Brahma. Brahma is all the offerings made into that fire. See, Brahmarpana. Arpana is the utensil with which you offer it in the Agni of yajna. So that utensil through which you are offering is Brahma. The material that you are offering, whether it is ghee or wood pieces, chandan pieces, whatever you are offering the fire is also Brahma. The person who is offering is also Brahma. And thus the Brahma is attained. And whatever you attain after doing all this is also Brahma. So everywhere this person is seeing Brahma only. Like a jaundiced person sees yellow thing everywhere. So he sees Brahma everywhere. So this is a well-known sloka which is chanted by traditional sannyasis and even some householders before they eat their meals. This food is Brahma. The one who eats is also Brahma. The fire which will digest the food is also Brahma. The resultant energy from that food is also Brahma. Thus the Brahma is interacting with Brahma. Everything is Brahma. Food is consumed by the body. the one who identifies with this body and one who sees himself as Brahma, but there is a huge difference between the two. If you want to understand this shloka in the context of ritualistic meaning of the word yajna, that means the sacrifice of some material in the Agni, that yajna, traditional yajna, what we call it, then by igniting a that sacred fire and pouring offerings like clarified butter, to ghee, the incense sticks in that, then Lord is saying the material being offered into the fire is Brahma, the sacrificial fire is Brahma, the one who makes this offering is Brahma, the one who chants the mantra is Brahma, and the fruits of this yajna is also Brahma. The one who leads his life in this way, seeing Brahma everywhere, in every form, in every event, in every action, in every person, he is always in a state of samadhi. He sees Brahma everywhere. Such a person does not have to take any efforts to sit in samadhi at any specific time. He is in samadhi all the time, whether he is working or is not working, because he is working with that kind of view in mind. Whether his eyes are closed or open, he is always absorbed in the divine, the supreme Brahma. So this is Brahmarpanam Brahmavir, Brahmagno Brahmanahotam, Brahmaivatena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. This is one type of yajna. Next, slok 25. Daivameva pare yajne yoginah paryupasate, Brahmagnama pare yajne yajne naivopajubhati. Some yogis, they engage in worshipping by offering different sacrifices to the demigods, where Jnanis offer knowledge as sacrifice by the Brahma in the fire of Brahma. So the Lord says there are some yogis who worship deities or demigods by offering that sacrificial oblation, that refined butter or incense sticks or whatever, into that fire and chanting the mantras. But other yogis do not engage in this kind of ritualistic concept of yajna. Their yajna is different. What they do, for them being in steady remembrance of Brahma is yajna. So they always remain absorbed in Brahma. So for them, this is yajna. This is second type of yajna. Now third type of yajna. Shrotradini indriyanyanye sayyama agnishyogvati, shabdadin vishayanyanya indriya agnishyogvati. Shrotra-dini indriyanyanya. Shrotra. So we have 5 jnanendriyas and 5 karmendriyas. So Shrotra is one, eyes, ears, nose. So these are all the jnanendriyas we have. Now Paramatma says that there are some people, some attain control of their senses by offering the senses, such as hearing, Shrotra, as a sacrifice in the fire of self-control, Sayyam. Sayyam is Agni, Sayyam is fire. When you offer your senses in that Agni of Sayyam, some people perform that kind of yajna also. Whereas others, they offer the sense objects, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These are the sense objects. Every sense has object. Eyes have object of seeing. Ears have object of sound, Shabda. So some people, they offer these sense objects as a sacrifice in the fire of senses. That is experiencing the sensory world without any attachment. That is offering in the fire of senses. Eyes are there, so they will continue to see, but whatever they are seeing, it doesn't go inside us. That is sacrificing the sense objects in the senses. Sense and sense objects, when they meet, they will continue to work. Whether we absorb it in our antakaran or not is up to us. So when we see outside things and keep them outside, then we are sacrificing our sense objects in the senses. The fact is that once one attains self-realization, then whatsoever that person does becomes a yajna. In short, this is the definition of yajna. The Lord says that some yogis, they attain control, restraint over their senses, ears, nose, eyes, these senses, and prevent them from interacting with their sense objects. This was that Shrotradini Anande Sanyamagnishijubuti, first line of the shloka. And other yogis offer the sense objects as a sacrifice in the fire of senses, which again is a yajna. For example, the ears listening to the sound is in effect a sacrificial yajna of the sound in the ears. We are offering the sound in the ears. Likewise, eyes seeing colors and forms is in effect the yajna of colors in the eyes. Similarly, be it eating, be it walking, is all yajna. Is all yajna. This is amazing. On one hand, yogi is performing yajna by exercising self-control, self-restraint over his senses and preventing them from interacting with the sense objects. This was the Shrotradinane Sanyamagnishijubuti, first line. And on the other hand, the other is experiencing the sensory world through his sense organs. Indriya and Indriya objects, sense and sense objects, they are meeting each other, fine. So some other people, they don't stop their senses from going to the sense objects. Their yajna is senses are meeting the sense objects, but the reaction, the resultant reaction doesn't enter into them. So they are offering the sense objects in the senses. So this is the yajna. But both these practices, whether it is restraining the mind or restraining the senses, preventing their interaction with the sense objects or allowing the senses to interact with the sensory world, are in effect yajna, or both are yajnas. This is because the actions are being performed with a non-doer attitude. I am not the doer. With that attitude, you perform the actions and without any attachment or aversion. So any such activities which I perform, then that comes in the category of yajna. That means what you do is not important, but how you do it and with what attitude. Now that is of paramount importance. One becomes renunciate, sannyasi, and there is no ego in his renunciation. Then this renunciation becomes a yajna. The other does not renounce the sensory world. Instead, he interacts and interplays with the sensory world, but with the attitude of detached witness as a non-doer. Hence, this way of experiencing and interacting with sensory world is also yajna. So sannyasi, taking sannyasi is also yajna, and a person living, a family person like us, he can also perform yajna living in this very world. So Shri Krishna is saying that one whose mind is devoid of attachments, who has the attitude of non-doer, such an individual opting to experience and interplay with this material world, with the sensory world, is also a yajna. So we can perform yajna in our day-to-day activities also, as simple as that. And the other who opts to withdraw his senses from the sense objects. Example is tortoise, withdraw all its limbs into the shell. That withdrawal of senses from sense objects is also yajna. 27. Sarvani indra karmani prana karmani chapare atma sanyama yogagno yuvvati jnana deepite. Sarvani indra karmani prana karmani chapare atma sanyama yogagno yuvvati jnana deepite. Sarvani, all, indrani, senses, karmani, actions of senses, prana karmani, functions of our life breath, life energy, prana. Atma sanyama yogagno, in the fire of self-restraint, atma sanyama is the agni itself. Jnana deepite, in the light of spiritual knowledge, wisdom. So Paramatma says another yajna in this shloka. Others offer the activities of all sense organs and interaction of prana. Interaction of prana, the breathing that we do is our prana, the vital life force, as an oblation into the knowledge illuminated fire of yoga, which is established in the supreme divinity. So this is also one yajna. Now there are yogis who stabilize and establish the senses in the mind and the mind in the prana. They establish senses in the mind and mind is established in the prana. So this is also a sort of yajna. So some yogis sacrifice, offer all the actions of their senses, indriya karmani, and all actions of their life energy, prana karmani, in the fire of self-restraint, atma sanyam, which is ignited, created by the light of spiritual wisdom. The Sanyam can come only through spiritual wisdom. Sanyam doesn't come to ordinary people like us unless we have that spiritual wisdom in us. Then only we can have that fire of Agni in us, in which we can sacrifice Indriya Karmani and Prana Karmani, both. Slok 28. Dravyajnastapo yajna yoga yajnastatha pare swadhyaya jnana yajnyascha yataya samshita vrataha. Dravya yajna, the sacrifice, donations, one possessions like say money, clothes, food, all sorts of charities that we do, but that should be earned through legitimate means. So that is Dravya yajna. Tapo yajna. What is Tapo yajna in our life? We don't go to tapa, we don't stand on one leg like tapasvis do. So full devotion to the God of your choice, you follow the subject, you follow some rules, of the day-to-day behavior, whether it is Chaturmas or Ekadashi. This is one yajna, Tapo yajna. Another Tapo yajna is while performing your day-to-day activities, while performing your prescribed duties, your kartavya karma, you come across a lot of difficulties. Some favorable situations, some unfavorable situations. Handling all those situations and still continuing with your swakarma, your prescribed duty, is a tapa for us. So day to day, whatever prescribed duties we perform towards our friends, relatives, parents, there are difficulties coming, of course. But ignoring those difficulties, when we continue to perform our duties towards them, that is also a tapa. Yoga yajna. Yogas are of many types. Hatha yoga, Ashtanga yoga. This is also a yoga yajna. And yoga yajna is also the samatha yoga yajna. Samatha yoga means remaining equipoised in all situations of say respect or disrespect, profit or loss. This is yoga yajna. Samatha yoga. Yoga is samatha yoga, which is described at length in several shlokas in Bhagavad-Gītā. So dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna. Swadhyaya. What is swadhyaya yajna? Swadhyaya yajna is self-analysis of your own actions. Swadhyaya. Self-study. Study of self. And preaching or telling about whatever you have learned about say Geeta, about Ramayana, about Vishnu Sahasranam, sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge with others is also a swadhyaya yajna. There is a phrase here used in this word, in this shloka. Dravya yajna stapo yajna, yoga yajna statapare, swadhyaya jnana yajnashta, yataya samshita vrataha. Now what is this samshita vrataha? Samshita vrata, it's a very famous phrase used in Vedas. It consists of 5 controls which you should have. One is non-violence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy, and refrain from hoarding, aparigraha vritti. So non-violence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy, and refraining from hoarding. This is called yama. These 5 things are called yama, and people who follow this yama, they are called samshita vrata. So this is samshita vrata. So some offer the wealth and their possessions, others offer their austerities, and others offer their practice of this 8-fold yoga, what we discussed, as a yajna. Whereas others offer the study of Vedas, Geeta, Ramayana, and all that, the knowledge as a yajna. So in this shloka, the Lord is listing the various yajnas. Dravya yajna, if it involves offering the wealth or objects for the benefit of other people. The person earns money and then uses part, not all, of what he has earned for charitable purpose, puts it forward in the service of the needy people. And let us remember that not everyone can do this yajna. Just as not everyone can do the other yajnas, which we have discussed so far. So everybody cannot keep on donating. It depends on how much he earns and how much he needs for himself. So this is another type of yajna. Paramatma is describing this shloka. Now we go to 29. 29 shloka. Apane juvvati pranam prane panan tatha pare Pranapanagati rudhva pranayama parayana. So some people pranapanagati rudhva pranayama parayana. Pran is the breath going outward and apan is the breath coming inward. If you hold your breath, that is ahuti, that is sacrificing in apan. That is called purak. We do pranayam, we inhale. So if you hold your breath in apan, that is purak. Similarly, if you hold breath in your breath, that is in prana, that is called rechak. And if you stop both prana and apan, then that is called kumbhak. So we do this pranayam. Many of us do this pranayam. We inhale, purak, we hold it, kumbhak, and then we exhale, that is rechak. The count generally is 4 count for purak, 16 counts for kumbhak, and 8 counts for rechak. So this is also called yajna. This is also called yajna. Inhaling, holding, and exhaling the breath is also called yajna, cleansing of mind and body. So some yogis offer apanavayu in pranavayu as a yajna, while others offer pranavayu in apanavayu as a yajna. Some other yogis cease the functioning of prana and apan, thus perfecting the practice of pranayama. This too is a yajna. So this is another type of yajna Paramatma explains in this shloka. Slok 30 is explaining another type of yajna. What is slok 30? Apare niyata ahara pranan pranesha juvati sarve pyede yajnamido yajna kshapita kalmashaha. Other yogis who consume a well-regulated diet, niyatahara. Niyatahara is important. So they consume a very well-regulated diet. They offer prana into prana. What does it mean? We'll see. All such yogis whose sins have been destroyed by yajnas are the true knower of yajna. Apare niyatahara pranan praneshu juvati sarve pyate yajnavido yajna kshapita kalmashaha. Yajna that burns our kalmashaha, our papas. Now it is holding of prana by prana. This is called stambha vritti pranayam. That means absolute restraint of the breath. Wherever the breath is, you hold it there only. Maybe very difficult. We should not try it without guidance. That is called stambha vritti pranayam. Example is, we see frogs. In the rainy season, we frogs everywhere. But when the summer starts, all the frogs, they disappear somehow. They almost become dead and they hide themselves deeply in the sand somewhere. If you move it, it doesn't move also, that frog. But next year when the rains come, that dead looking frog also starts jumping again. So they hold the pranas. So there are some yogis who can hold pranas for days, for months, for years. That is called stambha vritti pranayam, and that is also a sort of yoga. So in this, we have to have control over diet and appetite, and the one who eats without being attached to the food, and the one who offers merges prana into prana. That is that pranayama. That is also called a yajna. Performing of these yajnas of prana gets purified of all of our sins. Yajna kalmashaha. Slok 31. Yajna shishtamrita bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam nayan lokosti yajnasya udonya kuru sattamam. Now Lord says, Yajna shishtamrita bhujo. Yajna shishta, the result of such performance of yajna, amrita bhuja. Amrita bhuja, those who have tasted such nectar of yajna. Yajna is a nectar. Yanti, yanti, to reach, to approach. Sanatanam, eternal atmosphere. Kurusattama is calling for Arjuna, Kurusattama. So the Arjuna, such yogis who have tasted the nectar of knowledge as a result of performing these yajnas, they attain eternal supreme Lord. Yadhishtamrita bhajo yanti Brahma. Brahma is supreme. So they attain that Brahma through these yajnas. Even this material world is not a source of joy. For those who do not perform any kind of yajna, those who do not perform any of these 12 types of yajna, they do not perform their prescribed duties. For them, Paramatma is saying, who do not perform these yajnas, even this material world is not a source of joy for them. Then how can they receive joy of other paraloka, sublime world after death? So such an individual who does not perform yajna cannot attain joy even living in this material world. Then how can he expect or hope for any heavenly joys after the death of his body? Cannot. This means create your practice right here and now on this earth and with this very body what you have. Do not harbor any negativity for anyone, neither for yourself nor for anyone else. No negativity, absolutely. And then do not question others' demerits. Just accept what everyone behaves as per their innate nature. Don't keep commenting on others. Don't do this, do that. He is behaving as per his innate nature. You have no right to comment on him. And then they behave as per their prakriti. Simply move on. Accept it and move on. Do not harbor any kind of aversion also for anyone. See, the moment a thought arises in your mind that such and such person is bad, you create an impression in your mind and that keeps running in your mind about that person. You end up wasting your time and energy. And what do you achieve in this? Nothing. So Paramatma says, don't harbor this kind of sentiments of criticizing others. All that you are seeking is right within you. Brahma is within you. But as long as you do not realize this, you will remain a pauper. So we can be very, very rich when we recognize Brahma within ourselves, or we can remain a pauper. Thus carry out your yajna and perform actions which should be attachmentless and expectationless. And then accept whatsoever you perceive choicelessly. This is the message. Slok 32. Evam bhavida yajna vidata brahmano mukhe karmajan viditan sarvani vaidnyatva vimokshase. Having explained all these 12 yajnas, now Lord is saying to Arjuna that all these different types of yajnas have been explained in detail in Vedas. Brahmano mukhe, Vedas. Understand that these are created by the activities of body, senses, and mind. These are the tools for performing any kind of these 12 yajnas. There are some other yajnas also explained in Vedas, as Lord says. And thus knowing that they are all born of action, you need to do some karma if you want to perform yajna. When you understand this, that your karma is a yajna, and you perform your karma as a yajna only, then you will be liberated of all your bondages. So the one who regards his entire life to be yajna, who surrenders to the Lord and performs all actions bereft of attachment, devoid of attachment and egoism. Such an individual, his life is full of joy, equanimity, and peace. What else we want? We want joy, equanimity, and peace of mind. And when this mortal body drops off, that means when we die, he merges, dissolves into the eternal supreme Brahma, never to come back again on this earth. The Lord says, I have described all the yajnas described in Vedas to you, Arjuna. Shri Krishna has further explained a wide variety of different yajnas in these 3-4 shlokas what we have read today. The issue is not which yajna you choose to do. The important point is that you lead your life with a choiceless awareness, wherein you surrender to the cosmic energy. That means to the Brahma, or a Brahma, where you are not the doer even for a single moment. You are not the doer. So leave kartrutva abhiman, leave bhoktrutva, and perform your duty as a prescribed duty, as your kartavya karma. That is a yajna you are performing in your day-to-day life. The attitude of being non-doer strengthens. When you have the attitude that is, I am the doer, mere karan ho raha hai, I am the doer, what happens? It strengthens your ego. And the egoistic people can never be full of joy. Furthermore, the ego will lead you to surfacing of Rajasi and Tamasi gunas within you. So they lead to Rajasi and Tamasi gunas, your ego. So do everything as a non-doer and get rid of this Rajogun and Tamogun as well. This higher knowledge is not meant for the self-centered Rajoguni or Tamoguni people. It is meant for those who are Sattvaguni, filled with devotion and who have surrendered to the Lord. Slok 33. Shreyan dravyamaya adhyajna jnana yajna parantapo sarvam karma kilam partha jnane parisamapyate. Now in this shloka, Paramatma says, Shreyan dravyamaya adhyajna jnana yajna parantapo sarvam karma kilam partha jnane parisamapyate. Arjuna, jnana yajna, the sacrifice of offering knowledge, is far, far superior to dravya yajna. We have seen what is dravya yajna, what is jnana yajna and all that. This is because all karmas, all actions ultimately culminate in knowledge, in jnana. So jnana is the ultimate destination of all your karmas. Knowledge is the culmination point of all your actions. Sri Krishna is saying in this shloka that jnana yajna is the way superior to dravya yajna. Offering some donations to people or doing some work here and there, okay, fine, that is also good. But jnana yajna is much superior to that dravya yajna, because jnana yajna leads to fulfillment of worldly desires only. The dravya yajna, I mean. While yajna is like dravya yajna, japa yajna, tapo yajna, ahimsa yajna, etc., are all good in their way. Paramatma is criticizing those. They are all good in their way, but in essence, they are all external tools. They are the actions which are taking for the outside world. Whether it is dravya yajna, or whether it is japa yajna, whether it is tapo yajna, whether it is ahimsa yajna, whatever yajna. So there, in essence, are all the external tools meant for purification of antakaran. They lead to purification of antakaran, no doubt. The only one whose antakaran has been purified is eligible to receive this jnana yajna, higher knowledge. That means all these yajnas are the tools which help one to acquire the requisite eligibility to receive knowledge, that means to perform jnana yajna. So all yajnas, what we discussed, dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, all they are meant, they are the tools so that you can achieve the status of performing a jnana yajna. And all these yajnas are in a way preparations for the final yajna that we need to perform, that is jnana yajna. Jnana yajna, eradication of all your ignorance, that is jnana yajna. Yogis like japa, tapa, swadhyaya, raja yoga, raj yoga, they help, they definitely help the mind. They definitely help the mind to become centered and purified. But ultimately, everybody's objective should be to remove the ignorance, that is perform the jnana yajna. Shri Krishna is saying that all other yajnas are preparatory tools for performing the higher yajna, that is jnana yajna. See, the Lord is not demeaning, not berating other yajnas. These yajnas are important and essential because it is by performing them that one acquires the requisite eligibility needed to perform the jnana yajna. So it is also important to remember that jnana yajna, though the topmost in the list, other yajnas are the steps leading to the top. Now the traditional way of obtaining jnana, Paramatma is explaining. Slok 34. Tadvidya pranipate pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti jnana statvadarshinaha. Lord says to Arjuna, okay, I have explained to you all this. But if you don't believe me, if you want to consult some other expert, please feel free. Try to understand this knowledge from an enlightened master, Tattvadarshinaha, enlightened master, by sincerely inquiring. Tad Vidya Pranipatana, go offer your namaskara to him, render service to him. Sevaya, the one who has realized the truth can instruct you in attaining this knowledge. Then he will impart this knowledge to you. You can go, this is another route of obtaining the knowledge. Go to a Gyani and understand from him about the knowledge. The Lord says that go to a master, but following the requisite protocol. What is the protocol? Observing the requisite decorum. And the right behavior, right protocol means surrendering oneself to the master. Only then you should ask the requisite questions which will make you understand and which will lead you to eradicating your ignorance. That means obtaining your knowledge. But the basic intelligence is needed to know what questions to put forth to the master. Basic intelligence has to be there in you. For that, you have to have some self-study. You need to do some study of Adhyatma, spiritualism, before you go to a master. Otherwise, you end up asking some useless, meaningless questions to the master. Waste of his time and your time as well. A fool will only ask foolish questions. So let us not be fool. There needs to be some kind of some foundation of knowledge before you can ask some pertinent, relevant questions. So Krishna is saying, go to the master, following the appropriate traditions, and then put forth the appropriate questions. Again, following the decorum. Then the master will impart such knowledge that will reveal the truth, the ultimate truth to you, the truth which is beyond the senses, beyond the mind, and beyond the intellect, and it will eradicate all your ignorance. And this is another way of obtaining the knowledge. Slok 35. Yajñatmana punarmoham evaya sisi pandavo yena bhutanya sheshena drakshasya atmanyatho mai. Now, having obtained this knowledge, higher knowledge from that Tattvadarshinaha, from that yogi, from that jnani, you will never be deluded again. What is the delusion in the mind of Arjuna? Fight or not fight? They are my friends, my relatives. Should I do it or not do it? So, this kind of delusion will never come again in your mind. Because this knowledge will enable you to see that all the living beings are but a part of you. Your own real self, which is none other than the eternal bliss, part of Paramatma, truth, all pervasive, super Brahma. So you will get this knowledge from that Tattvadarshinaha, that Yajñatmana punarmoham evam yasis vandava yena bhutanya asheshena. All, no shesh, all. So the Lord is saying to Arjuna that having obtained this supreme knowledge, you will attain the supreme Chaitanya. How? The Lord says, through your own intellect, you will glimpse the supreme Brahma in your own Atma. That is the knowledge you will obtain. You will experience this veritable truth that the fragment of Brahma is within you. Slok 36. Abhichedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakruttamaha sarvaijnana plavenaivam mrijanam santarishyasi. Now, even if you are the most sinful of all sinners, apijadasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakruttamaha. Amongst all sinners, you are the most sinful person. The raft of knowledge will undoubtedly ferry you across the ocean of sins and miseries. Apichet sudaracharo bhajate mam nindabhag sadhuri vasa mantra samyak vavasato saha apichetisi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakruttamaha sarvaijnana plavenaivam. Sarvaijnana plavenaivam, the raft, the boat of Yajna. The boat of Yajna, the raft of Yajna will ferry you across this Vrijinam Santarishyasi. Vrijinam, this ocean of sins and miseries. So the Lord says, don't fret, don't worry about how bad you were in your previous karmas. Don't worry about the sanskars of previous karmas lying in your subconscious mind. Forget about all that. Just contemplate upon the higher knowledge, and once you can sit in this estuary of knowledge, remain assured that you will get across this ocean of sins and miseries. Never ever doubt about this. The best example we see in our mythology is about Valmiki, Maharshi Valmiki. He was a robber, he was a killer, he was a murderer in his previous karmas. But once he obtained the knowledge, all his previous things got washed out, got burned. And he led the life of a Maharshi. So whatever sinful act you might have committed in the past, once you obtain this knowledge, everything gets burnt, everything gets wiped out, and you are on a totally different path altogether. Apichedasi papibhya sarvebhya papakrittama sarvai jnana palavenevam vrijanam santarishyasi. Slok 37. Yathaedansamidhogdhir bhasmasat kurute arjuna jnanagnis sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. Now this is another example Paramatma is giving, that after obtaining this knowledge, it is like just as blazing fire reduces all the fuel to ashes. The fire is burning, you offer wood to it, you offer paper to it, everything gets turned into ashes. Likewise, Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge. It reduces all your karmas into ashes. No karmas will again bind you. All karmas turn into ashes with this Jnanagni, this fire of knowledge. So once this fire of knowledge blazes within you, it will reduce all your actions, meritorious and unmeritorious, sakam, nishkam, everything, sattvic, rajasi, tamasi, all karmas to ashes. Just as a fire does not discriminate and burns all types of fuels, likewise the fire of knowledge, it burns all karmas and samskars indiscriminately. Indiscriminately is important. But here it is important to understand what is knowledge. Reading or listening to the words of knowledge is not knowledge. Only when you gain first-hand experience of that transcendental knowledge, that in effect is real knowledge. You have to experience it, not by reading and writing, but experience it within yourself. As you keep on practicing, as you keep on listening, as the mind starts to become quieter and quieter, and eventually when it becomes completely stilled, completely thoughtless, then the awakening of that Chaitanya, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, happens. And this Nirvikalpa Samadhi is Gyan. So this is Gyan. And we are all striving for this Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Gyan, the higher knowledge. Hence, we should know that as long as Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpa, with no desire, no spruha, no icha, that kind of samadhi does not occur. As long as this does not occur, till that time your karmas, your samskars are not going to get destroyed just by reading or listening to the word of knowledge. You yourself should enter into that Nirvikalpa Samadhi, then only these karmas will get burned. By reading some Geeta Vivechan or by listening to some Vivechan or by seeing some YouTube article, this will not get burned. You have to do it yourself, you have to practice it yourself. Words of knowledge are akin to signal posts that we see on the highways. They guide the travelers, which shows the path and directs him to the destination. But that is not the destination. These are just the signposts. Likewise, these Vivechanas or this YouTube or whatever things you hear here and there from experts, these are all the signposts. They will drive, they will show you where to lead, where to go. That is not the destination. The destination, the goal is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and all these things are our signposts for that. Slok 38. Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitramihi vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. In this world, there is no purifier like higher transcendental knowledge. Paramatma is praising the importance of knowledge. And this knowledge is experienced by one whose mind is absolutely purified and who is himself perfected in yoga, Samatha Yoga. In this context, let us understand that Gyan and Yoga are not two different paths. Gyan is different, Yoga is different. No, they are not different. But rather they are complementary to each other. Yoga is very much a part of Jnana because Raja Yoga imparts the optimal level of mental purity and single pointed concentration required for becoming eligible to understand the higher knowledge. So we have to prepare. That means if you cannot say, that you are treading on the path of Jnana Yoga, you have nothing to do with yam, niyam, asanas, pranayama. You cannot say that. These are all the steps which you have to follow. You have to cross. We have discussed how to control your mind. The route is through asanas, pranayamas and all that. So these are the necessary steps which you have to follow. If one listens to the knowledge with the impure antakaran, then all that will happen is that his ego will get further bolstered, will get further bigger. And hence, he will end up getting further entrenched or further bondaged in his karmas. Ego is very bad for that. So half knowledge and with impurified antakarana, if you get that, then it will help only in boosting your ego, nothing else. So he listens to the statement that I am Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. But he misuses this to lead a life of tamaguna. When you don't deserve to be called I am Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, then if you are saying this Aham Brahmasmi without deserving to say this, then it shows your tamoguna. So he justifies it by saying that I can do whatever I want because after all, I am a Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. But merely saying this Aham Brahmasmi doesn't help. You have to first acquire that qualification, that knowledge. Then only you can say this. Otherwise, it will result only in boosting your ego, nothing else. So all such people, we should remember that this is not Brahma. When you say Aham Brahmasmi, this is not Brahma. This is Brahma. Brahma means delusion, confusion. And this thinking reflects their Brahma, not Brahma. Brahma and Brahma are two different things. Listening is step number one, but it's just the beginning. And you cannot bypass the practices which are required to be done in order to purify your mind. Unless mind is purified, you cannot be reaching where you want to really reach. Your mind has to be equanimous, equipoised, balanced. And then you can lead a balanced life only when your mind is balanced. Slok 39. Shraddhavallabhate jnanam tatpara sanyadendriyaha jnanam labdhva param shanti machirena adhigacchati. Important. Paramatma says the one who has complete faith, Shraddha, and is dedicated to transcendental knowledge, who has conquered his senses, that person, he attains higher knowledge, and having attained that higher knowledge, he attains the supreme peace. He attains the supreme peace. Shraddha vallavate jnanam tatpara sanyadendriya. Sanyadendriya, the person who has controlled his senses. So now, what does it mean to have faith? What does the faith mean? Seeing the Guru as being equal to the God, that is faith, that is Shraddha. Undeserved, unquestioning, implicit faith and surrender to the Guru, that is faith. No doubts whatsoever, and regarding the Guru as a form of God. Having complete faith in the Guru as a Brahma, the Guru is Vishnu and Guru is Shankara. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. So practically, literally believing every word of that shloka is Shraddha. That Guru is your Brahma. So this is faith. This is devotion. This is surrender. One who doesn't have Shraddha, in 17th Adhyaya there is a shloka. Ashraddhaya hutan dattan tapastaptam krutanitayat pasatichite partha nachatat pretyeno iha. Whatever yajna, dan, tapa, sattvic karma you do with ashraddha, that means without Shraddha, it doesn't help you anywhere. It doesn't help you in this Manusya Loka. It doesn't help you in Paraloka as well. So Shraddha is a big thing. Without Shraddha, reading Geeta is also of no use. You should have deep Shraddha about Lord Krishna. In Lord Krishna, you should have deep Shraddha. Every word of Lord Krishna should penetrate your mind, your intellect, enter your heart. That Shraddha you should have about Lord Krishna. So the other prerequisites Lord is saying is that subdued senses, sanyatendriya, senses which are in check. And the Lord says, the one who fulfills these two conditions, devotion, surrender, and jitendriyaha, sanyatendriyaha, he is eligible to receive the jnana. Furthermore, this happens not in some distant future, rather the one who is ready and prepared, he attains it instantaneously. And thus attaining the transcendental knowledge, he attains the supreme peace. Shanti achirena adi gacchati. Achirena, without delay. Gacchati, attain. What? Shanti, param shanti. Slok 40. Adnyascha shraddhadanascha samshayatma vinashyati. Nayan loko stinaparo nasukham samshayatmanaha. So the ignorant people who lack faith and keeps on doubting, he gets ruined. You doubt everything that is said in Geeta, you doubt everything that is said in Adhyatma, then you are ruining yourself. Adnyasya shraddhanasya samshayatma vinashyati. He goes to hell. He cannot come up then. He is ruining himself. There is no happiness, there is no joy for him, neither in this world nor in the other world. This shloka is similar to what we just said about 70 shloka. Ashradhyahudandattan tapastaptam krutankyat asadityachite partha najatat pritino here. Similarly, Adnyasya shraddhanasya samshayatma vinashyati nayan loko stinaparo nasukham samshayatmana. Both are having almost similar meaning. There are millions of people who have no interest, no faith, no inquiry about the existence of God. Such people will neither get any joy in this world nor in the paraloka, other world. Slok 41. Yoga sannyasta karmani jnana sanchinna samshayam atmavantanna karmani nibadnanti dhananjayo. So the one who has renounced attachment of all fruits of actions, karma phala, he has relinquished all karma phalas, who has offered all his karmas to the Supreme, to the Lord, to the Parabrahma, whose doubts have been vanquished, eliminated, destroyed by the transcendental knowledge. Such a person, established in his real self, is not bound by any karmas. Yoga sannyasta karmani jnana sanchinna samshayam atmavandana karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya. How will the karma bind, and moreover, who will they bind? Who the karma will bind? The one who has surrendered to the divine, to the Parabrahma, who has burned his senses, who has surrendered his senses of doership, he is a non-doer. One who has subdued his senses and he has integrated his mind, who has burned all his past samskars in the fire of Shraddha, in the fire of faith, in the fire of knowledge. Such a person will remain a non-doer despite doing all actions, and thus karmas simply cannot bind him anymore. So non-doership is important thing. The one who knows and is established in his real self, one who identifies with his real self, he is never bound by any karmas. On the other hand, the one who identifies with body is always bound by karma. The first error is to regard this body as I am the body. This is the first error. The second error is to regard all those related to the body as mine, belonging to me. Now the cycle of auspicious and inauspicious karma will commence. When you say mine, not mine, then auspicious and inauspicious karmas will begin. In order to rectify these mistakes, the first step you need to follow is to take and disidentify yourself from the body. And the moment you disassociated your identity from the body, as soon as the I am body is dropped from your mind, all attachments also drop on their own, of their own accord. At that very moment. So Paramatma says, drop all this. You're not a body. So drop all attachments which the body has given you. Slok 42. Tasmad adhyana sambhutam hristai jnana sinatmanaha chitvainam samshiyam yogam atishta uttishta bharata. Therefore, Arjuna, be established in this samatva buddhi yoga. Samatva yuddhi yoga. Buddhi yoga. Samatva buddhi we have discussed a number of times. Whatever behavior you have with the outside world, do it with equanimity. he is closer to me, he is my enemy, he is friend, that other fellow is my foe. Not with that kind of thing. Everyone is same for you. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmani Gavyastini Shunichaiva Shvapakeja Pandita Samadarshana. Pandit looks at them, all of them in equanimity, because he knows Mame Mosho Jiva Loke is the fact. Paramatma's fragment is there in all of them. So who am I to distinguish, to make difference between them? So remaining equipoised, equipositioned when dealing with outside people, and similarly remaining equipoised when dealing with your own sentiments, your own emotions. Na pravrashit prem prapya, no dvijet prapya prem, sthira buddhira sambodo brahma vid brahmani sthita. With little joy you start dancing, with little grief you start shedding tears. This is not samata yoga. So you have to accept both in equanimity, remaining equipoised. So be established in this Samabuddhi Yoga, and with the sword of knowledge, slash all the doubts which have arisen in your heart as a result of ignorance. You are not fighting this war because of your ignorance. You have doubts in your mind because of your ignorance. Remove all those minds with the sword of knowledge, what you have got now. And just armed with the knowledge, get ready to wage this war. Remove all your doubts with this knowledge. So Lord says to Arjuna, get established in this Samatha Buddhi Yoga. Know that which is sama, immutable, unchangeable. Is it the body, the mind, the intellect, the prana? No, they all change. This keep on changing all the time. What is immutable then? Your own real self, your own jivatma is immutable. It doesn't change. Thus, establishing your intellect in your real self is Samatha Buddhi Yoga. So know that I am the non-doer and I am the non-bearer of consequences. I am the detached witness. I can be nothing but detached witness only and only. This is my essential nature. I don't want to become a witness. I am a witness. I don't want to become. I am a witness in reality. So no karma can bind the self-realized being. Thus, what you have to do is erase this I and let all actions happen through you. Move away from the sense of doership and perform your actions with excellence. Sri Krishna says, get established in the higher knowledge of the real self, not in the body, intellect, mind, but in the real self. And then no karma can ever bind you. So this is the end of Adhyaya 4, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Let us read the Pushpika. Om Tat Saditi Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayai Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna-Arjuna Samvade Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga Nama Chaturtho Dhyaya. Om Shri Krishna-Arpanamastu. Now the forum is open for all of you to raise your questions. Feel free to ask questions. Today we have got the shlokas rather swiftly because there was not much of time, and in this sessions we have to conclude the 4th Adhyaya. So if you have any doubts about any shlokas, feel free to raise your questions. Thank you so very much.
That was an enlightening session, Bhaiya. You dealt in detail with regards to our karma and different forms of our action. We'll be seeing more of this in coming chapters. Geeta Sevi program on 7th of May at 8:30 p.m. would enable you to choose any one of the seva as per your ability and interest. So please do watch the program. It's just a reminder because I'd already told you. And now it's time for question and answers. I request those who want to ask questions to raise their hands and switch on their cameras and wait for their turn. Please make the questions precise so that more questions can be taken. Yeah. Please do hand raise if you have any questions to ask me.
Narayanji.
Ji, Jai Shri Krishna. Yeah, I want to know this. In Geeta, Bhagwan says, "Na ham vedarne tapsa na dane nasejiya." Then what is the significance of the jap, tap, palatira, dan, dakshina?
You have to repair your own sanskar. Because as we discussed few times, the karmas that you do, they get originated from your past sanskar. Your sanskar force you into doing the karmas, which are in line with the sanskar that you are carrying from life to life. So if you want to repair your karmas, if you want to become little sattvic and less rajasi and less tamasi, then instead of controlling your senses who are executing the karmas, you better repair your sanskar. Sanskars are repaired, then automatically the senses and sense objects will perform good karma. So these are all the means what you have encountered just now. These are all the means to repair our sanskars, so that we get engaged into doing some real good work. That is the only intention of this thing. These are only the means to get into the line. This is not the destination. These are only the means.
Thank you, sir. So kind of you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Rashmi Di,
One sec. Jai Shri Krishna. It was so good. I just can't explain how nice it was. My question is, I think in Shloka 27, you said establish senses in the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to know a little more about this particular phrase. Like, how do you establish your senses in the mind?
Yes, you see, the senses are generally getting attracted to the sense objects. And who controls the senses is your mind. Mind is the boss of senses. Okay. So if you are putting your senses in the mind, and if mind is controlling the senses, that means you are controlling your senses through your mind. So it's a other way of saying that you are controlling your mind. If you control your mind, then your senses automatically get controlled. If your mind is not under control, that means the senses are free to do whatever they want to do. And that is what the restrictions we want to put on your senses. You don't want to get engaged into any rajasi or tamasic activity, but for that you need to control the senses. But can you control the senses directly? No. It is to control through mind.
You
Mind
also
is your intellect. Above mind is your intellect, and above intellect is your swa, your jivatma. So that is the hierarchy. The hierarchy is the lowest is your gross body. Then comes senses. Then comes mind. Then comes intellect. And the boss of all this is your swa. So is at the top, jivatma. So the idea is to control senses through mind. That is another way of saying that you establish your senses in the mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you.
Nanak Ji,
भैया आपने बताया कि कोई एनलाइटेड पर्सन से आप जाइए और प्रश्न करिए, तो हाउ वी कम टू नो दैट ही इज एन एनलाइटेंड वन?
हाँ, so वो आपको देखना पड़ेगा. You have to first find out details about him, because हम टीवी पे काफी enlightened लोग देखते हैं आजकल, वो सारे enlightened है कि नहीं है हमको पता नहीं रहता है. तो रियली किसी के पास जाने के पहले उसकी पूरी तहकीकात करना हमारी जिम्मेदारी होती है. किसी गलत आदमी के पास चले गए हैं तो आपको गलत एडवाइस मिलेगा और आप गलत मार्ग पे चले जाएंगे. उसमें आपका टाइम भी जाएगा, एनर्जी जाएगी, पैसा भी जाएगा. तो जो आदमी आपसे पैसा मांग रहा है, इसका मतलब he is not an adhyatmic person. No adhyatmic guru will ask for money from you. But before you attain any shibir of these people whom you see on TV, they will first ask you to send some money transfer to them on their account, which they will repeatedly keep showing on the TV. That this is the account on which you spend, you send so many thousands of rupees, then only you can attend our program. So such gurus you have to avoid. You attend our Pujya Swamiji's lectures anywhere where he travels all over India. So wherever you are located, you try to attend his lectures. We don't charge anything. Geeta Parivar doesn't charge anything for any of the sessions. So these are the gurus whom you should follow. Instead of following,
20 years ago, I attended one guru's lecture at Sapro House in New Delhi.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't know anything about him, but just for curiosity, I went there and attended that program.
So what was your experience?
I have forgotten all these things.
I see. Okay. You see, another thing is, once you consider someone as your guru, then you should not change it. However good or bad he may be, once you accept him mentally as your guru, then you have to live with that guru.
That
That is
if I find him all the qualities which you describe,
yes.
but later on he turns out to be some asharam type, then what we do?
Then also you have to stick to it. There are disciples who can repair their gurus. They can repair the path of their guru. So this is what we say Shraddha. Shraddha is the deep faith. If you have, the deep faith can do wonders. There is a small story. There was a guru and there was a disciple, Shishya of him. And then this Shishya went to him saying that, I want to learn something from you. What do you want to learn? He said, I want to get some sadhana, some siddhi from you. Siddhis are some kind of magic. People should do like this and take out something from their hand. So this is also called siddhi. So he said, okay, you served me for 12 years, then I will give you the siddhi. He said, okay. Then the disciple, he served that guru, who was actually not a deserving guru. He was like asharam type guru. So he served that asharam type guru for 12 years, wholeheartedly. And after 12 years, he said, Guruji, can I have my siddhi now? So he said, now you have served me for 12 years. You already are possessing siddhi. So then he asked, can I walk on the water? He said, yes, you can walk on the water. You have served me for 12 years. Now you can walk on the water as well. The disciple was very happy. So both Guru and Shishya, they went to the nearby river. And this disciple, he put his foot on the water and he really started walking on the water. Now this Guru was shocked. He said, I just told him jokingly that you can walk on water and he can walk on water. That means I am really great. So he said, if my disciple can walk on the water, I will also be able to walk on water. And he put his foot on the water and he sank. Because he had no Shraddha on what he was talking. While the disciple had deep Shraddha. Though the Guru was not, he was an undeserving Guru. But even the Shraddha on an undeserving Guru can do magic, can do wonders.
Thank you, sir.
So this is how the Shraddha plays important role in the relationship between a Guru and a disciple. A disciple has to have deep Shraddha in his Guru.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So,
There is no question.
No more questions, no? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Vikas Vaidya ji for clearing the doubts of our sadhakas. On behalf of Geeta Parivar and myself, I extend sincere thanks to the technical team consisting of Deepak Gupta ji and all those who have been at the backstage for their relentless and efficient efforts in making the session a great success. May I take this opportunity? Vikas ji, Atul Chanbag ji has a question.
Atul ji, please go ahead. It's good to talk to you. It's good to talk to
Atul ji,
you.
puche. Yeah, Atul ji, you may ask. Yeah. Atul ji.
Please start your camera, Atul Bhaiya ji, and unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. I've been unmuted now. Okay.
Yeah,
Like previously also I was not given a chance to ask the questions.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you. Previous week also.
Okay.
Thank you. Vikas ji.
Atul ji, but you have to on your camera. Why are you not
My
on?
question is it's not compulsory, right, to on the camera. The question is important. Okay. Let us get back to the question, ma'am. Okay. Sir, why this Pushpika is there at the end of every chapter? And who put the Pushpika at the end of every chapter of Geeta?
It is put by Maharshi Vedavyas, who has written the Geeta. See the meaning of this Om Tat Sat. We say Om Tat Sat. This is the way to call Paramatma. Om Tat Sat. These are all the names of Paramatma. The meaning of this Om Tat Sat is, yes, that Tattva is the Satya. Tat means that Tattva. Which Tattva? Paramatma Tattva. Sat is Satya. Yes, that Tattva is Satya. So with this Udghosh, this announcement, Om Tat Sat Iti, this Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā Su Upanishadsu. Gita, which is drawn, extracted from Upanishadas, Brahma Vidyayai. It teaches us Brahma Vidya, it teaches us Yoga Shastra. When we learn the 6th, Paramatma has given full details of how to enter into yogas, how to enter into meditation. So it teaches us Brahma Vidya, it teaches us Yoga Shastra, and it is drawn from Upanishadas. Extracted from Upanishadas, and then it is passed on to us through Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade, in the form of dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. And then the name of Adhyaya comes, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. So this is the name of Adhyaya. The chapter that covers the subject is Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Nama, then the number of Adhyaya. So this is the sequence in which the Pushpika comes. But before it starts, Om Tat Sat. When you read 17th Adhyaya Bhagavad Gita, it explains where you use Om, where you use Sat, and where you use Sat. These are the callings for. But with Om Tat Sat, as I said, it means yes, that Tattva, Paramatma Tattva, is the ultimate truth, is the ultimate Sat. With this announcement, then you describe what you have read in this particular chapter.
Thank you, sir. But isn't it diluted then? Like Vedvyas did it, like from Lord to Vedvyas, from Yugo.
See,
from Kali Yuga to.
when you read Gita Mahatmya, you know the origin from where all the things that are given in Bhagavad Gita have come. This is an aspect of Upanishads, Vedas. Upanishads and Vedas, hardly anyone reads those. No one has access to it. And it's so tough to understand. It is a simplified form which has been extracted from Upanishads and Vedas. So this thing comes, Upanishads. Okay, any other questions? Rashmiji, you have a question?
Bhaiya, I have one question here. Ritu here, Bhaiya.
Yep.
Jai Shri Krishna. I'm very happy and very blissful to have your sessions since I'm following on YouTube. And since I'm a yoga instructor and a therapy yoga, so this is very much connected to our yoga studies. The 4th chapter is very much close to our yoga studies. So I have just one question. In 31st shloka, Bhaiya, you were saying about we need to let go the things what the people talk about, something very similar to that. So is it that we should not correct the people who are wrong or something as such, like we should just let go in that way, or something is happening very maybe in the relationship also, something must be going wrong, we are aware of it, and whether we have to correct them or like we have to let go. How does this get cleared? Yeah.
Gita, nowhere it says that you keep tolerating the injustice meted out to you without protesting. It doesn't say this. But what it is expected is, if you are thinking that you can change the mind of others, that is a tall claim. You probably cannot. You can point out to them the mistakes that they are committing. But to expect that they will dance to your tunes or they will work as per your advice is not exactly proper. We should be ready that people will continue to behave as per their own innate nature. Everyone in his nature, his innate nature is as per his prakriti. And his prakriti is according to his samskar. We cannot change his samskar. We cannot change his prakriti. We cannot change his innate nature. So how can we complain about the karma that he is doing now? Because his karmas are driven by his, governed by his samskar, his prakriti.
Yes.
Our prakriti is different, his prakriti is different. So the problem comes everywhere is because we expect others to behave as per our expectations. or expectation?
No, Bhaiya, sorry to interrupt. Not expectation, but since when we see something is not balanced there, something is not going on to the balanced way, like, so is it okay to get involved and give them the suggestions, whether they take it or no? As you said, it's different way, but
Yeah, definitely. You should point it out. If you see somebody definitely on the wrong path, then you should definitely point it out to him.
but sometimes that may not be correct for them. It may be correct for me when I am saying something to them, but it may not be correct for them. They may not be taking it as a positive way. So is it okay? So is it okay to give the suggestions in that way? Like, what do you say, Bhaiya?
But they leave the decision to them, and don't get
Okay.
disappointed if they don't follow your suggestion.
Okay.
You will be fully satisfied within yourself that you have done your job, you have prescribed duty fully well.
Okay, Bhaiya. Okay.
You should find happiness within yourself. If you get
Yeah,
disturbed
yeah.
him and he has not followed my advice, then that is what Geeta preaches us. It says,
Yes.
advise whatever best you have in your mind, but don't expect that he will work as per your advice. Don't get disheartened. Keep all outside thing outside. Don't get anything inside. Whatever comes inside is putting us under bondage. If you get angry, that anger puts you under bondage. If you
Absolutely. Yes.
don't get angry, then you have done a sattvic karma.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Bhaiya. Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you.
I think all questions have been answered. Yeah. So it was a beautiful answer, Vikas ji. And may I take this opportunity to thank all those who attended this session. Please do continue your Geeta sadhana and attend these sessions to enrich your spiritual knowledge. Today, Sunandita Sainiji from Bangalore is reciting Samapan Pratana. She is a homemaker and has done MCA. Didi joined Geeta Parivar in March 2022 and is doing Seva of co-trainer in L1, L2 and L3, I think. Yeah, let's invoke the blessings of Lord Krishna. Didi, please. Yes.
Yogesham Satchidanandam Vasudevam Prajapriyam Dharma Samsthapakam Veeram Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum Shri Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Jai Shri Krishna to all.
Jai Shri Krishna, that is a beautiful rendition. Yeah, I just wanted to tell everyone because Didi, she is a student of L4 and she is a trainer for L1, L2 and L3. That's what I wanted to tell everyone. Yeah. And now we have recital of Hanuman Chalisa now. Hope you all have downloaded the Rama Pratishtha app for posting your Hanuman Chalisa recital numbers. If not, please download from Play Store. The app has 3 audios and videos along with which you can recite Chalisa and the numbers would be recorded. You can hear and recite in a loop. Now, yeah, Hanuman Chalisa, please. Please do be there for the recital.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार।